So you want to do business with the Department of Defense? Then you absolutely need to know about CMMC Level 1. Now I know, it sounds super complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. Over the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain, demystify the whole thing, and give you a clear, simple playbook. Let's jump right in.
If you're nodding your head yes to this question right now, then you are in exactly the right place. This is, without a doubt, a must-know for anyone who is currently a DoD contractor or wants to become one.
And yeah, that means getting cozy with CMMC. It stands for Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. You know, it's basically the rulebook that DoD uses to make sure all its partners are properly protecting sensitive information. Okay, so let's start with the most important question. Why? Why does this all matter? Well, when you land a government contract, you're not just delivering a service or a product. You're also taking on a huge responsibility. You're now the guardian of certain types of information.
And the key phrase to lock into your brain is this one: Federal Contract Information, or FCI. All it means, really, is the stuff related to your contract that isn't meant for the public to see. Think of it as the private, sensitive data that you're now in charge of keeping safe.
All right, so now we know what we're protecting. So let's talk about the how. And we're going to frame this as your mission should you choose to accept it. Achieving CMMC Level 1 compliance. It's really the first most important step in this whole journey.
And here's the most important part, so lean in. Level 1 is a self-assessment. That's right, no scary auditors are going to come knocking on your door. You are simply evaluating your own company against 15 fundamental requirements. We're talking about what's called basic cyber hygiene. But before you can start checking off boxes, you got to know what you're even supposed to be looking at, right? This is a really critical first step called scoping. It's all about drawing a line in the sand to figure out which parts of your business actually need to be protected under these rules.
The easiest way to think about it is like building a fence. You don't need to fence in your entire property, just the valuable stuff. Same idea here. Any computer, server, or system that touches that FCI, whether it processes, stores, or sends it, that's in scope. Everything else, it's out of scope. Getting this part right is huge because it keeps your assessment focused and manageable.
And hey, here's some good news for you. The government gets that some things are just plain hard to secure in the traditional way, so these specialized assets, things like IoT devices or maybe some specific testing equipment, they're actually considered out of scope for this Level 1 self-assessment, so you can breathe a little easier there.
Okay, time to get to the heart of the matter, those 15 requirements. Now, please, don't look at this as some intimidating checklist. A much better way to see it is as your security playbook, a set of basic, fundamental plays to keep your data safe.
15. That's it. That's the magic number for Level 1. It's totally manageable. And to make it even simpler, we're not going to go through them one by one like a boring list. Instead, let's group them into 3 simple, common-sense themes.
So our first theme is all about access control. And it really just boils down to one simple question. Who gets the keys to the kingdom? It's all about managing who and what can get into your systems and your data. What this means in practice is, first, making sure only the right people and the right computers can even get on your network. Second, it means making sure that even when they're on, people can only do the things they need to do for their job and nothing more. And finally, it's about putting up a clear boundary between your network and the outside world.
But, you know, cybersecurity isn't just about what's happening on a screen. The physical world matters a lot. And that brings us to our second theme, physical protection.
I love this example because it's so down to earth. See, security isn't always about fancy, complex firewalls. Sometimes the absolute best security measure is just a good, old-fashioned lock on the server room door. Because think about it, if someone can just walk up and touch your equipment, all your digital defenses could be for nothing.
So the requirements here are pretty much common sense, right? Lock up the important areas. If you have visitors, make sure someone is with them, and just keep a simple log of who's coming and going. It's about securing your physical building just as much as you secure your network.
All right, our third and final theme is all about making sure your systems are healthy, trustworthy, and clean. It's called System and Information Integrity. The best way to think about this is like the immune system for your network.
This group of safeguards is your frontline defense against all that nasty stuff out there. Viruses, spyware, you name it. It means you have to have anti-malware software. You have to keep it updated constantly, and you have to be actively scanning for threats. This is all about playing offense, not defense.
Okay, you know what to protect, you know what to assess, and you know the 15 rules of the game. So,
how do you actually do the assessment? And what do you do with the results? Let's cover that now.
The whole process really boils down to 3 simple activities. First, you examine. You look at your policies, your documents, your system settings. Then you interview. You actually talk to your people to find out how they do things day to day. And finally, you test. You poke and prod your security controls to make sure they actually work. You look, you ask, and you verify.
For each of those 15 requirements, you're going to give it one of 3 grades. Met means you passed, you're good. Not met means, oops, you found a gap that you need to fix. And NA is for those rare cases where a requirement just doesn't apply to you. Now, here's the bottom line. To be compliant, every single requirement has to be either met or NA. There's no partial credit.
And once you've done your self-assessment and you've confirmed that all 15 requirements are a solid met, the very last step is to officially report your score into the government system, which is called SPRS. This is basically you raising your hand and officially declaring we're compliant.
And that really is what this whole thing is about. Look, this isn't just about jumping through bureaucratic hoops. Achieving CMMC Level 1 sends a powerful message to the Department of Defense. It says you're a serious, responsible partner. And frankly, it's an absolutely crucial step to winning and keeping those incredibly valuable government contracts.
So I'll leave you with this question. It's not just, are you compliant? The real question is, are you ready? Is your basic cyber hygiene strong enough to be a competitive advantage that helps you land that next big contract? That's something to think about.